Perfect game, college baseball. Hunter Pence, Daron, Sutton, and you. And most of the time when we see great young men on the college baseball diamond, travel baseball diamond, Major League Baseball diamond, behind or beside that young man as he gets older is the input of his mom. And on this Mother's Day week, we celebrated. Hunter, I know for you, you said in our pre-show meeting, it would mean the world for your mom to come on and have these conversations. We will have a bunch of them on this show. But in your own words, introduce us to your mom, please.
My mom, Gail, is just the sweetest lady that would give you the shirt off her back. She made so many sacrifices for me, Darren. I'm sure you have a similar story with your family and your mom. But, the moms, they don't get a lot of credit. They get Mother's Day and, you're usually talking to the dad, the kid, the whatever, but they're feeding you. They're doing their laundry. They're teaching you a lot of the life lessons that you need to learn to be a better man off the field, to be active in the community is kind of what Gail really taught me. And just the sweetest soul that would give anything and didn't ask for anything in return. I love Mother's Day. I love hearing the stories. And she has a lot of good stories that she can make fun of me as well, which I always appreciate. And so it's exciting to get to learn the behind the scenes of these great athletes and knowing that, it takes a family. It takes a lot of support to get to this level of accomplishment.
Perfectly said. Let's just set up the show. We're going to talk with Kim Cruz, and Dylan Cruz should be the number one overall pick in the draft out of LSU. We're going to talk with Jenny Bradfield. Enrique Bradfield is going to be about 10 picks behind him if you look at all the mocks, but both young athletes, both PG alumni, both going to be first-round picks. Very different players, but very talented athletes. We'll talk to both their moms. And then, of course, Craig Cozart is giving up his chair this week, our great scouting supervisor at the college level, his wife, Michelle, who, by the way, was a college athlete herself and is the mom of all kinds of travel and college baseball. That's her situation. That's our conversation. And it's going to be a lot of fun. On this Mother's Day, we celebrate you, mom, out there, the heartbeat of the travel ball and college baseball world. Hunter and I, glad you're with us. Now let's get in college baseball. There's a household name in the prospect world, and everyone's been talking about him for several years. And they talked about him coming out of high school, and then all of a sudden he said, I think I'm going to go to college. I'm not going to jump into that pool known as the draft, and I'm going to see what I can do going to college. And ever since then, he hasn't disappointed in multiple layers. That's Dylan Cruz at LSU. Many think could be the number one overall pick in the draft. But on this Mother's Day week, we're going to chat with his mom, Kim. Kim, thanks for spending time with us. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We just talked on another show to a mother of the legendary Andrews softball trio. All three of them played so great in the diamond at LSU, ironically enough. And, I wanted to know from her the genesis of her passion for sport, not just her daughter's. So for you, explain your passion for sport, because if there is buy-in as a mom, there has to be a little bit of a heartbeat yourself. Explain to me your history in sport and your passion for sport.
I actually grew up in sports. My family was very much into sports. I was a gymnast for 9 years and used to compete back in Dallas when I grew up. But I also played some softball and a little bit of basketball was not my thing. No, I was not good at that. But gymnastics was my thing. So we grew up, my parents always made us do something. So
gymnastics is one of the toughest sports out there. And I did gymnastics as a kid, so I understand the dedication and how like obviously the art, the fun and the challenge of gymnastics. But Kim, I got to ask you, what was it like for you competing as a gymnast and like doing that work? And then what's it also like, watching your son? Which one is more challenging and which one is more fun?
Well, like I said, I did it for 9 years. I was not the best on the team, but it was a lot of work. It was definitely a lot of work. I think my most challenge is watching my kids play, of course, or Dylan. That just seems to take everything out of me. But gymnastics was definitely hard.
Yeah, it definitely is tough on the moms. I know my mom was always way more stressed than I was, and you got to like relax the mom. So this is something that being in the baseball world for a long time, it's always fun to watch how the moms, some moms can't watch in the big moments. Some moms are just relaxed and, they have their superstitions. What's what's your day like when you're watching Dylan go through this like crazy pressure year? He's obviously having a lot of success, and he's going to have a lot of big moments coming up. What's your go-to superstition? What are you doing in the stands? What keeps you even kill as best you can?
Well, I don't really have any superstitions. And I'll tell you, my anxiety has gone up. It's funny because
it's tough.
I've watched him play his whole life. And that's the funny thing is I've watched him play his whole life, but it just seems that my anxiety's gone up a lot. And I just try to be in the moment. And I've had a lot of good support and a lot of good people that have been like, just enjoy it. Enjoy every moment. And that's actually helpful for me because I'm trying to enjoy every moment because it has gone so fast. And that is the one thing that really helps a lot.
If you don't mind, Kim, give us a description of a car ride from years ago, because I think I'm a sports parent. I was a travel ball parent. I do remember those car rides. Some you were consoling them when they were down and they were frustrated. Some you were honestly quiet because you were listening to them in their own glee for what they had accomplished. Describe those car rides. And the second part of that, Kim, is how fondly do you remember those now?
Those car rides when he was younger, of course, were, and his dad was a big baseball player. So his dad could give him a lot more insight than I ever could. I was just trying to, after watching him for so long, I felt like I knew a lot. But, moms always think that. And Dylan just got to the point where he's like, Mom, I don't even want to hear it. Just be a mom. And that's all I need you to be. Don't try to tell me what I'm doing and how to do it and what I'm doing wrong. And that's where I've had to learn, is because I think I know a lot, which apparently I don't know anything. But he's really, I gotten to the point where I'm just a mom and that's all I am. And I'm just like, I keep my mouth shut, which is what I'm told. But
yeah, and celebrate and sacrifice and sacrifice, over and over for that. Introduce us to your daughter Lindsay a little bit, because Dylan is why we were drawn to you. But tell us everything you'd like to tell us about Lindsay.
Lindsay is 19, and she is actually just she went to FAU her first year as a freshman at Florida Atlantic University, and she just transferred over to UCF. So this is going to be, she came home, which I'm actually happy about, but she's home now, and she's going to be going to UCF her sophomore year. So, and she's just trying to figure it out. She's still trying to figure it out. She was a volleyball player for a while, and she was really good at it. But then she just decided that wasn't her thing. She's not a sports kind of person, but she is figuring out life, and she's doing great.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And that college, the 19-year-old, that's really tough. But I want to jump back to, sometimes you need a mom, and like you get so much baseball and there's so much pressure. What is some of your favorite things that you and Dylan did growing up? And what's some of your favorite things that you can support him in ways away from baseball? Because I always think of, my mom always likes singing and dancing to me, but I would love to hear what you and Dylan like to do.
I am not a singer and I am not a dancer, but it was funny though, because we just, he was such a mellow kid. He always has been. He just wants to just hang out at home. He never really wanted to do anything. Our time together is just hanging out at home or just going and having a good dinner. He just doesn't want to ever. He's not a really go out party guy. And we just hung out a lot at home and went to dinner and just spent time together because he was always so busy too. So it was just, those moments were my favorite.
Yeah, just quality time and being around is sometimes enough. And I have to also ask this one as well. Is there any embarrassing, funny stories? I mean, he seems so calm, cool, and collected. You feel like there would never be an embarrassing moment, but we all have something throughout our childhood. Is there, or just even, what's the sweetest thing he's ever done for you? I think either one of those works great for me.
Oh,
I think I would love to hear that about Dylan.
Embarrassing. I really can't think of any. He's just such a sweet guy. The one thing I remember the most was, I think it was Mother's Day, and this was a few years back. And I always feel like I'm at the baseball field on Mother's Day on Sundays. And he hit a home run, and he got the ball, and he signed it, and it said, "Happy Mother's Day, I love you." And then he gave me that ball, and that was like one of the favorite things I have.
Yeah, that's a great question. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Hey, families helping families of Greater Baton Rouge. Your son has lent his name to that. And because of that, and that's one of the cool things about NIL now, which allow these athletes to spread their wings a little bit. But as a mom, explain to us that relationship that he has with the Baton Rouge community and what you know about how proud you are of him.
Oh, I'm so proud of him for that. And I'm a nurse. And so it's just something that, has always been near and dear to me. And I'm actually so proud of him because he did this all on his own, which is so great for me. And he, it all started with his relationship with Aubrey. And I don't know if you even heard that story, but she's a nonverbal autistic young girl. And she doesn't say mom, she doesn't say dad, she doesn't say anything. But apparently she was watching an LSU game and it was Dylan's freshman year. And he, all of a sudden, she just started saying Dylan Cruz. And the family was like, oh my goodness, did she just say that? And they actually got it on video. And that video went on Facebook and it actually circulated and came back to us. And so then Dylan invited her to one of his games and got her tickets. And that's actually how the whole thing started, with him getting involved in the autistic community. And so then we decided that we would buy season tickets and he would give them to a special needs family. And that is just blown up. So every home game, there's a special needs family that comes to every game. And he, it's just been amazing. The community's been amazing. The people have been amazing. And they have always said that they are just so thankful because none of them ever really go out to spend time together as family. And so this is their first baseball game together as a family. And they didn't know that they could do these kinds of things. So they're just so grateful. They've been the most amazing community and they've been the most amazing people. And we've met so many. And Dylan has just really gotten really involved in it. And I'm just so proud of him because he's done it all on his own. And we're just supporting him through it. So just so happy for him.
Yeah, you put the bricks down for that foundation, though, Mom. You definitely are supporting him through it, but you don't accidentally learn how to do something like that. So kudos to you and your husband and aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever really laid that impact. But on this Mother's Day week, kudos to you. It's funny. He's tracking for millions of dollars. We're all out here saying it. But that's the stuff that matters, isn't it? That kind of core stuff that even if the millions go away, it's those kind of values and that kind of soul development that probably means the most to you on this Mother's Day weekend. And that's probably the greatest gift, the development of his soul. Yes?
Yes. And I have always told him, I said, baseball isn't going to last forever. It's not. I mean, you play as long as you can, and I am so proud of you for that. But the man you are off the field is way more important to me than what you do on the baseball field. And he lives by that. He really does. He's just been such a great, rounded person. And I'm just so proud of the man he's become. He's just such a great man off of the baseball field. Mm-hmm.
It's incredible stuff. Listen, we thank you for your time, Kim. We've enjoyed being around Dylan. You shared his time with me multiple times for interviews in different spaces when he was a high schooler, and now we watch him through college. And happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
More conversations with moms who've made a ton of sacrifices so their sons could chase their dreams. That's the focus of this show, Perfect Game College Baseball. You're hanging out on Perfect Game TV. We're just a couple of days removed from what was a great conversation with Enrique Bradfield, a wonderful, talented athlete who has played his way high into the conversation of the draft, but also has done a lot of things off the field. He's a Vanderbilt student. He's crushing it in the classroom. And on this Mother's Day week, a wonderful conversation with his mom, Jenny. Jenny, thanks for spending time with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Where does your love for sports and athletics come from? Yours specifically as a mom, because to devote that much time as a parent, as a sports parent, to provide that kind of guidance and support, you have to have a love and a heartbeat for athletics. Where does that come from for you?
Well, actually, it comes from, believe it or not, my husband. He loves all types of sports. And, I just gradually joined it. I don't mind at all. And I support them in everything they do. That's very, very important to support them as to what they like. And just seeing the passion, in the sports, it just makes me want to continue enjoying it every time.
Jenny, I think that's awesome. You know, sometimes it's great to have a mom that isn't all about the baseball. And that was kind of similar with my mom. She was like, yeah, whatever. Like, you did great, you know, and that actually was a great, you know, like support for me. I want to ask a little bit about like kind of the off the field Enrique. What was he like growing up? What was it like raising him? He's so fun and colorful to watch play and exciting. But what was he like as a kid?
He's always very playful, very attentive. Like I said, we've always watched sports. My husband used to play ball himself. So when he was little, I'm talking about the age of 2, he would literally stand up in front of the TV and then just, you know, try to mimic every single player for whichever team we were watching playing at. But as a kid, he just loved to just be playing. And, you know, that's very important because it would show the way that he is, you know, just with passion, everything that he would do. You know, he was just always wanting to be on the move.
Yeah, he lived to play, huh? That's a beautiful way. I can relate to that. And for you, when you watch Enrique play, and I'm sure you've learned a lot about baseball, what is like your favorite way to watch him? Because I know obviously this year is one of the most pressure fulfilled years. You know, he's at Vanderbilt, he's put in the work. This is a big thing. There's scouts, there's the games, there's school. What is your best way to watch him play in these big moments? Do you like pray for him? Do you watch? Do you look away? What's kind of the your rhythm
depending
at
on
the
the
ball
situation?
Games?
I do both, actually. Really sitting there, watching play and praying, you know, myself at the moment. Or if it's a very tough situation, you know, like what happened at Omaha, I would look away, praying at the same time. So yeah, that's a mom's way.
I'd love to get your thoughts on something Enrique shared with me, and I wrote it down if you don't mind.
Okay.
And he's speaking of his parents, and on this Mother's Day week, he's speaking of you then. And he said, and I quote to me, "I play for them to make them proud. They drive me to be a better athlete, but overall, a much better person in this world." When you hear your son say that, and he actually said last week that the same thing applies even tenfold, what does that mean when you hear your son say that?
It actually means a lot. Means so much because that is exactly what we strive for. You know, we've always made sure he is a better person. You have to be a better person in order for you to put out what you love, what you have. And my husband and I, we do strive for that. You know, whether it's my son, my daughter as well. We just make sure that they are a better person and learn and continue to learn to be a better person, because that's what it is, society, staying humble, you know, not going over your head. And if, you know, we see a little something, we're like, hey, tone it down. But we don't really need to worry about that because he is very humble and actually he puts himself first a lot. And that's what we love. We love to see that, you know, just being humble and just being the best person that he could be. That's what's going to be hard.
You and your husband, both from Panama, met in the States. How proud is Enrique, in your mind, of his Panamanian roots?
Oh, he's very proud. You know, we would love to now go as they're older. He went when he was young, you know, and it's nice to our roots where we were born. And, you know, and hopefully we'll be able to go back again, visiting our roots, you know, and we just, that connection, him knowing that both his parents are from Panama, you know, it's very important to him.
That's beautiful. Jenny, I want to ask, do you have like a fondest memory, a funny memory of Enrique as a child that you love to share at a party, or just something that shows a little bit of his personality? He seems light, bright, and playful. Anything in particular, Jenny?
Actually, I can share two. One is when he was 4 years old, when we put him in T-ball, and he knew a lot already about the game. So he would be so frustrated to see that the other kids wouldn't know, you know, he knew the game. So that's when we knew, we're like, okay, it's time to move him, because it just wasn't fun for him anymore. that to us, it was funny because we're like, wow, from the age of 2, him watching baseball and all of that, he really absorbed it. But we didn't really know until that point that we actually saw it. The other time is him just at parties and all of that. He just loves to laugh. He just shows that all the time, and he loves to dance.
Oh, he's a good dancer. Now, does he get that? Are you a dancer as well? Does he get it from you or dad or both?
Yes.
Is that yeah, me and my mom love to dance together too. That's like my greatest memories is mornings. We would sing and dance and make up songs together. So that I can super relate to that, Jenny. I love that for y'all. And what is this is one I love to hear from moms is what is one of the sweetest things he's ever done for you?
Well, there's so many. One of the most important things that a mom doesn't realize is when he listens to you. That's very important. So the many times when, lend an ear, he's there. He's a good listener. And I can, relate to that. So to me, that's very sweet because not a lot of sons may do that with the parents or with their mom. But yes, I know for a fact that I can go to him and talk to him and all of that, and he will listen as well as give me advice as an adult. So that's where I can see very much.
Oh, what an incredible answer. I like asking the athletes if they dream about the day that they'll get drafted into professional baseball. And the one thing I've learned, Jenny, is this generation of athlete is a little bit more honest. They say, yes, I have. And here's what my dream looks like. And they share the dream. And it's so much fun to listen. As a mom, you dream 10 times as much as they do about the day when he may see his dream. Can you think about what draft day might look like this coming July? He's earned the right to be talked about now. He's earned the right to be picked. Have you had a daydream as a mom of what that day might look like?
As of today, actually, we try not to think about it that much. Will it be stressful? Absolutely. I'm sure it will. But right now, the focus was for him to finish school with great, a GPA and all of that, because that has always come first. School. Without school, no good grades, no baseball. He's always known that. So we focus on that. And now with the baseball is for him to continue growing, with him and his teammate, because he is also a great team player, for them to do great during the season and all of that. And the goal is to reach to Omaha. And then what happens after, then we'll take it one day at a time.
So much wisdom in that. What a good, wise answer. Very traditional and a great answer. My final question for you is, what is the best gift that your son and daughter, your daughter Yari, we want to make sure we mention her, can give you on this Mother's Day? I'm sure it's not materialistic or something bought with money, but in your mind, what's the greatest gift that they've been able to give you through the years that you celebrate this week?
Continue to love me the way they do. That's all. Everything else it follows. Their love to me, it's greater than ever. Both my daughter and Junior and Enrique. So, for them both to continue loving me the way they do, it means so much. Nothing to do with materials. I can care less about materials, and I'm sure they know that too. So continue loving me and continue with their respect and doing what they are here to do, which is do well, stay humble, and be successful.
Amazing. Thank you, Jenny. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
A celebration of you and all the moms out there in the baseball world this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Celebrating moms this week on Perfect Game College Baseball. Another great conversation in just a moment. You're watching Perfect Game TV. It's at this time in Perfect Game College Baseball that we're usually graced by wisdom. We're graced by insights. We're graced by college baseball intelligence. When Craig Cozart comes on, a longtime baseball coach, 400 wins as a coach, a long, successful career, and gives us the latest stories in college baseball. It's a Mother's Day show. Craig, we're not really interested in that now. So he moves aside, and his lovely wife, Michelle, joins us, who, by the way, big-time college athlete herself. Michelle cut right when she was playing at Central Florida. We'll focus on the mom part of it, but Michelle, thanks for spending time with us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, when you look back, and now you're a wife in this industry, very successful educator, but you're a wife in this baseball industry, a mom in this baseball industry. You yourself were a college athlete. As you reflect back upon your college athletic days and playing at Central Florida, what are some of your fond memories of being a D1 athlete?
Oh my goodness. Well, the relationships you build with your teammates, on the volleyball team, you've got 12 pretty much on there, and you are sleeping, eating, and breathing together for the season. And then even on the off season, you're together. And, we were a pretty fierce group. In my 4 years in conference play, we were actually 55-0. We never lost a match, much less a game. And so, we walked in the gym with this fierceness, and, my head coach, Laura Smith at the time, just basically had us carry this air of we're going to win. And I think that's what kind of carried over, especially with Craig and I, with the boys and stuff, is, just the experiences. There's nothing like being a college athlete. There's nothing like being part of a team. And so that was just, it was awesome. It was the hardest job I've had in a long time, but it was awesome.
Michelle, I think that's actually a really cool story that you were a part of such a wonderful, successful, athletic career. But how much did the lessons of being in sport prepare you for, the life you live today? As now you're teaching, now you have 3 boys, you have a big family. How much did that translate to actual, just where you are today?
Oh my goodness. Well, one of the biggest things is I have the utmost respect for my head coach, but I didn't like her. And I think that's a lesson that, so often these athletes these days think that your coach is going to be your best friend. And that's not why they're there. They're there to mold you, to turn you into the player that they know you are. And also ultimately, turn into a productive adult. And so, looking back on that, were there times where I hated the process? 100%. But that's what created the fierceness. That's what created the person I am today as a professional, as a mother, as a wife, and it kind of just trickles down. So, you can, every aspect of life, whether you're trying to deal with somebody that's not very easy to get along with or having a blast out at a ball field, you can get those lessons from everywhere.
Wow, that's such a beautiful perspective. And come to think of it, like I'm sure if anyone looks back along their journey, some of those tough parents, not being a friend actually shaped you and was one of the best things for you. It's that tough love. So I love hearing that. And thank you for that great perspective. I got to ask you, this one hit me when I was thinking of, kind of your family and your journey. What did 7 years ago look like on the weekend with the 3 boys versus a weekend today? Now you have 2 kids playing college baseball and they're all over the place. So can you give us a little bit of painting that picture?
Yeah. So 7 years ago, Caleb was, kind of just in the throngs of his showcase season in high school and getting recruited. Jacob was just beginning the journey because 7 years ago, he was right about 13, 14 years old. And then Sam, our youngest, was only 11. So an average weekend once, with everybody playing travel ball. And then you would add Craig, because that was back when he was still coaching, he would have 3 games a weekend. And then each of the boys, on the showcase circuit before they go into big PG events, you're playing 2 games on Saturday and sometimes 3 on Sunday. So I would have, average of 12 to 15 games just with the boys and then add Craig's on. So I got really good at, packing lunches in coolers, and like we could load up and head out and be gone all day long and go to all these games. And I loved it.
I'd love to gather around the table with you 5 and listen to some of your conversations. It doesn't happen as often now. I'm guessing as a mom, you cherish it when it does.
Oh.
But maybe it's the holidays, and maybe it's, as Hunter said, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Let me have dinner with you guys. What does that look like when you're not going here to there to a practice or a workout or a study session? Let me sit down with you guys at dinner. What does that look like?
It really, we're just kind of decompressing from our day. We always wanted the boys to focus on the positive, no matter what happened during the day, whether you failed the test, whether you struck out 3 times, whether, you fell walking in the hallway because your feet are ginormous. It was focused on the positive. And, one thing I wanted my boys, and Craig the same, wanted the boys to be able to leave the house with the ability to laugh. And no matter what's going on, we laughed. And so it was, our dinner tables were funny and they were loud and it was a lot of food. And, even to this day, it's funny because Caleb and Jacob can't sit by each other because they'd poke, nudge. And Sam always got a seat by himself because he was, he soon became the biggest. So he got the space, kind of thing. So it was a lot of laughter, a lot of food, a lot of laughter.
That's amazing. That laughter that keeps life in its proper place. And obviously, as an educator, what kind of values has it brought to you, to bring home? I mean, certainly you take your values into the classroom, but teaching biology, anatomy, physiology,
right.
High school level, the cynicist or the person with cynicism can say, well, these are challenging times. It's not the time to be a teacher. The optimist can say, well, I can make a difference. I mean, there's a way I can make a difference. What says you as you take your values into the classroom?
If my students and my boys also, because I've taught all my boys and everything, is I want them to leave my classroom with in their heart the term "enjoy the ride," because when you go out into the big wide world, when you go to college ball, when no matter what you're doing, you are never promised an easy road. You're never promised a straight, beautiful paved road. It's going to be ups and downs and crooked and dirty and a dirt road and mud puddles. And then you're going to get that downhill slide where it's the most amazing journey of your life. But we know those downhill roller coasters always, tend to take an uphill. So it's enjoy the ride. No matter what's handed to you, just embrace it, enjoy it, and never get to a point where you look back and be like, oh man, I wish I would have XYZ. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the process.
Beautiful, Michelle. So I got to ask, we love Craig and we have him on and he's amazing and charming. How did you and Craig meet?
Oh, goodness. Okay, this is funny. So first class freshman year at UCF. Now, mind you, I was recruited out of high school. I went to high school in Wisconsin. So I'm a Wisconsin girl. I'm down in Orlando, Florida, first class freshman year. I was in the middle of Hell Week. So pretty much you drag a mop through a mud puddle. That's probably what I felt and looked like. Intermediate algebra, 8 a.m. I dribbled myself in and Craig was sitting right in that classroom. I do have to say I made him chase me for a year. He would ask for a ride on my bike because I rode my bike everywhere. I would throw a no over my shoulder. But then after about a year of becoming friends and really knowing who his character was and, him getting to know me and stuff, that we were very like-minded and stuff. And so that was it. Sophomore years when we started dating.
Oh, that's beautiful. You made him work for it and he continued to work and got to know him. That's amazing. That's amazing.
25 and a half years of marriage later. So
beautiful. And then what is the sweetest thing your boys have ever done for you?
Well, every year it seems like, they surpass their sweetness because we don't buy cards. We just think, the Hallmark, they're kind of a waste of time and stuff. And so the boys always write me cards. And so every year for Mother's Day and birthday, I get handwritten notes and one year I get one, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the sweetest one ever. And then they surpass it the next. And it's just their genuine admiration and respect and thankfulness for what Craig and I have made a priority in their lives. So they do a lot of sweet things and it just kind of keeps snowballing each year.
What a wonderful answer. You keep them somewhere? Are they kept somewhere special,
Yes,
I'm guessing?
100%. 100%.
On those rainy, dark days, go grab one and probably feel a lot better.
Absolutely. And the handwriting, what's important. I think, I still keep all the handwritten notes from my grandparents and my grandmothers that were so important in my life. So something written in somebody's own handwriting is so important.
They've all had different baseball journeys. Caleb now at Greensboro and Jacob at NC State. And Sam now deals with the new recruiting rules that he was committed, but now can't talk to his coach for a little while longer. And they've all had different journeys, but Mississippi State is where he is committed. For you, have those been joyful car rides, frustrating car rides? No matter what they are, though, you probably will never forget those car rides. I love, we've had so many moms on both our softball and baseball shows. And as a sports parent, I vividly recall those car rides, no matter what it was, after the events, before they could drive, when they needed you, they needed that ride. As you look back, do you look so probably with fond memories of those car rides after games?
Oh, 100%. The only thing I'm like, whoo, is the stinky feet. Because, those baseball cleats have to come off right away. And I'm like, what in the world? But no, car rides are, they're stuck. They're stuck in four walls with you. They talk about their disappointments. Sometimes the disappointment isn't going to get talked about it, but it kind of sits in the chair next to them, and there's a way to work around it and let them work through it. Even going through the recruiting process with them, when they so badly wanted to honor their dad because they knew, like, their whole life they've wanted to respect and honor their dad. And once Craig came through and just said, boys, this is your journey. You pick where you want to go. And we are just proud of no matter where you pick. And once that was said and their journey blossomed into what each individual journey's turned into, that you can't ever take those car rides back. I love it.
Yeah. I'll never forget a couple of years back at Jupiter when Sam seemed about 5 years old and he was pitching to his brother in Jupiter, which no sophomore, freshman, 8th, 7th grader should have been doing whatever he was. So Thanks for sharing your boys with us, your husband with us, and more than anything, happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
We want to thank Kim Cruz for joining us. We want to thank Jenny Bradfield as well. Hunter and I, this was a fun one, wasn't it, Hunter?
Absolutely. Amazing. The moms are the best, and that's what it's all about.
Happy Mother's Day. Thanks for watching Perfect Game College Baseball on Perfect Game TV.